ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content this morning, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Karen Schatzle. Got a whole long list of attributes. Senior Deputy District Attorney and candidate for Orange County Superior Court. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Double celebration day today, and I love this one. National Mom and Pop Business Day. That's a wonderful one. Isn't that a great one? Mom and Pop Business Day. What was America founded on? Basically, it was the small business owner, mom and pop, getting together, running their own business. Doesn't that go back to the days of the farmers, the immigrants, the way back? Sure seems like it to me, and I think it should be celebrated, especially here in the state of confusion, where we do everything we possibly can to kick the small business owner out of America, or out of the state of confusion. Unbelievable. We're still watching all this garbage going on with the $15 an hour minimum wage for the state of confusion. Unbelievable. Yeah, we get to pay more money toward our gasoline than anybody else because our state of confusion, the state government, that's just the way they are. They like the idea of controlling our lives. Now they want to get rid of the foundation of our country, push them out. Now, who's behind that whole bill? Yeah, you could have guessed it. But I'll tell you. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just the unions. They're the ones that are pushing for this whole thing because they feel that it'll get their union membership more money. And, of course, we did see just recently, first time that we have seen this problem, or a problem that we knew was going to come, but we did see for the first time that the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, did not come to a decision. Supreme Court came up with a 4-4 ruling on it's actually a California case also, forcing union members to pay dues. Unbelievable. So the union, because of it being a 4-4 decision, it gets sent right back. And I don't understand why. Again, this is another one of those Chief Roberts issues, as I understand it. But they come up with a 4-4 decision, and it gives the unions a victory in this. Now, from what I understand, the way I've interpreted this, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not, but the Chief Justice has two options when in chambers they come to a tie. They can either announce it as a decision, tie, goes back to whatever the lower court ruled, or he can do nothing and hold that until they've got a full contingency of justices and take it up at that point. Well, this particular case, they went back. Wonder which side Justice Roberts was on, or Chief Justice Roberts was on, being that this one came out as a 4-4 tie, going back to unions can force their members to pay dues. I digress, though. I didn't even have that on the schedule to talk about. I just love the idea of mom and pop businesses because having beaten anorexia, today is also National Lemon Chiffon Cake Day. And that sounds much more palatable to me than talking about the Supreme Court and some of their pinhead decisions that we get from them that we all have to live by. Amazing. Moving right along. Well, we've got other news. I did see that we got some news coming out of the housing market. This one is a home price survey, 20 major U.S. metro areas, unchanged in January. Now, don't take that the wrong way, because some of the media is going to tell you that we might be in a housing bubble, that prices were unchanged. That's a month-over-month number. That was the unchanged number. Year over year, 5.7% increase. Now, Wall Street was looking for a 5.8% increase, but I would suggest 5.7 is not a bad number. In fact, it may even be too high a number. May not be a good idea. We don't want our economy or our housing market to overheat again. But the idea at 5.7%, again, we haven't even talked in that area about leverage. The idea that if you buy a house, and you should, don't pay rent. Very, very few cases where I've come across people that should pay rent. But in most instances, you do not want to be paying rent. 5.7%. Think about this. If you put 10% down, and yes, I know that you veterans out there, you're putting zero down or have the opportunity to put zero down. And others, 3%, 3.5%. But what if you use 10%? That means your return on cash is going to be 10 times that 5.7%. So your return on cash, not return on investment, because the property is going to appreciate regardless of how much equity you have. If you have zero equity or 100% equity, the property is still going up 5.7%. But if you put 10% in, then you've got a tenfold leverage there. Think about that. Where are you going to get a safe, secure 57% rate of return? I suggest you're not going to get that anywhere. I suggest get out there and start looking at a property. Don't think about it. It does not have to be your dream home. I would suggest, if you were contrasting buying a house versus renting, is that rental unit your dream home? Mm-hmm. Now, I know in Orange County, the average apartment is costing $1,882. Average apartment, $1,882. You're paying somebody else's mortgage, the landlord. Now, if you do it on your own and take into account taxes and the tax benefits, you're looking at about a $2,500, $2,600 mortgage payment. Comes out about the same as that $1,882 rent, because you get a tax write-off for doing, or in most instances, again, consult your professionals for that. But that's the issue, is you're getting a tax write-off. It's much, much better off for you to deal with getting it. Wouldn't you like a tax write-off? If you're one of those that's more in favor of paying high taxes, the government, I promise, they will not be sending you a thank you note. That's not the way they work. They'll just take your money and waste it like they do in most instances. You tell me what government programs are extremely efficient. I'm still looking for one. Although we can look, the federal government getting into your lunchbox. Can you believe this one? Here's the newest. You can't make this stuff up. You just cannot make this stuff up. Come on. There he is. Oh, he's at a ball game. I thought the president was going to chime in.
So I know whose ass to kick.
Oh, no, he did chime in. There it is. The feds are going to fine schools for not following Michelle Obama's lunch rules. Really?
You know better than that.
Yeah, the schools will do that, and I think that it's probably...
You're absolutely useless.
Now, let's think about this one. A very interesting concept. Kids. I don't know. I'm old. When I was in school, if I brought my lunch to school, if mom put something in lunch that I didn't like, there was a couple of opportunities. Now, my size, I ate everything. There was very little I didn't like. But boy, if I could trade something from somebody to somebody else, I was all for it, to get something that mom probably didn't even know I was eating for lunch. Well, think about this one. The kids get this stuff at school that Michelle Obama thinks is appropriate for them to eat. They don't want to eat it, so they throw it away. But that's more nutritious than eating the garbage that the schools were providing originally. Does that make any sense at all? Why is the government involved in this in the first place? Just my personal opinion, but hey, at least the feds can start fining schools for not following through on what they want the schools to do. Unbelievable. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're getting into this election season pretty hot and heavy. I think it might be something that we want to learn. How do judges get to sit on the bench? How does that happen? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about real estate sales contracts. They hit the highest level ever. And who has better credit, men or women? I might get myself in real trouble on that one. You can reach me anytime. The off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, all you do is you go to Ron Siegel and the numeral 1, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it is wrong. They all are wrong. I'm telling you, I've yet to see one that's correct. Been looking at them since the 90s. I've never seen a completely accurate credit report. Unbelievable how... Do you know any other institution that can have, last number I saw, may not be current anymore, but the last number I saw, 600,000 complaints every year to the FTC about the credit bureaus. Yet they still exist and they still get 2 shots to mess up your credit report before they even have to do anything. Unbelievable. But Credit Sanitizer, they're there to help you. Who has better credit, men or women? Very, very interesting, and a lot of people look at the wrong statistics. Women, statistics say, earn about 79 cents for every dollar men make. But even though men make more money, they're not necessarily better at managing it than women. On average, men have more debt than women, according to recent analysis from one of these great bureaus, Experian. They also have lower average credit scores. Women have the better credit scores. So using that FACO score that the bureaus like, as opposed to a FICO score, but using the FACO scores, men have an average score of 670. Women have an average score of 675. Men also carry an average of 3.7% more debt than women. That'd be $27,627 to women's $26,610. Just a little interesting trivia that will do absolutely no good for you, but I like to share some of that information with you anyway. That is Your Credit Matters. We want you to get those credit reports taken care of. Again, creditsanitizer.com. They're standing by to assist you with that credit report. Look at that financial education services button I think they have there. That's a comprehensive option for you. I'm going to chat this morning. Got a great education. I've shared many, many times that I probably would not be the best juror in the world. I believe that the police are right 99% of the time. I walk in with that bias. Karen, you might like having me on a jury because, I just walk in saying, police are right, end of story. And, then I've got to be proven the other way, which I think the law basically says you're supposed to do opposite. But we're going to chat this morning and learn a little bit about how this system works. Karen Schatzle, Senior Deputy District Attorney, candidate as well for the Orange County Superior Court Judge, seat 48. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's chat a little bit. Give us a little background because I'm a simple guy. I never even realized that you can start out from step one as a elected judge. I always thought it was appointed. How does that work?
Quite frankly, I have to admit that I didn't understand the full process until I started looking into it recently. The only requirement to be a judge, which is kind of scary, is that you are a practicing lawyer for 10 years. It doesn't matter anything else. The type of law, what you're doing, just as long as you're a practicing lawyer, you can, what they call, pull papers and run for election, or you can put in for appointment, or in the process of running for election, you can run for an open seat. And since my decision to oppose the incumbent judge, I've learned that what most often happens is, and it's interesting because I've learned that women typically will put in for appointment and not run. I didn't know that. And you wait for an open seat. So if you want to become a judge, you go down the registrar of voters, you pull papers, and you don't pick a seat number. You just say, I'm going to wait to see who retires, and if anybody retires, I'll take that open seat. And there's a time frame in being able to put in your papers. You put in your papers and then you wait. If a judge doesn't file, that means they're retiring, then they extend that time frame for 5 days. And what I've learned is typically that the judges will keep it a secret if they're going to retire or not, and maybe tell a few select individuals, typically district attorneys, and then they don't file and they endorse their preferred candidate for their own seat. And then somebody has 5 days to put in to oppose that individual if they want to, knowing that the judge that's retiring has endorsed somebody specific, and typically the elected official, the district attorney, will also endorse their candidate for that seat. So now you have two very strong endorsements, the retiring judge, the elected official, and then somebody who may want to jump into that election, but it's very costly. The filing fees is about $3,000, and a ballot statement ranges from $15,000 to $29,000, depending on the word count you use in your ballot statement, which is why sometimes there's no ballot statement at all.
Wait, you pay based on the number of words?
200 or 400, yes.
Wow. That's really interesting. So it's almost like when you watch some movies, and I guess sometimes real life does follow the movies, but it's like generation to generation. Once you're in as the judge, then you just kind of hand that down to
the person of your choice. Regardless of qualifications or character, hopefully you would want somebody to be picked and selected based on their character, their experience, and their involvement in the community and current issues, but that doesn't always happen.
And the other part of it that you made a comment there that also was very intriguing, and it's something I think we spoke about a couple of weeks ago when Fred Fasinelli was in the studio, was number one, most of the judges are generally the biggest legacy of a governor or a president, right? Because they last a lot longer than the elected officials do.
Well, I've learned, again, recently that once you become a judge, that in Orange County there's this unwritten rule that you do not challenge an incumbent judge, period. You just don't do it. It's not looked upon favorably. You're discouraged to do it, as I've been discouraged to do it. And I've been told flat out, people think you'd be an amazing judge. They're just upset that you're going against an incumbent. There's an unwritten rule. And I said, well, we also have the written rules that judges are supposed to follow, but I guess you ignore those and you go by the unwritten rules, and this is something I couldn't do in this current administration based on what's going on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And one of the other comments that Fred made to me, and I want to, which you just said as well, which was without us even chatting about it. Now, somebody could, sounds to me, and I don't know how judges rotate their responsibilities, but somebody could be dealing with traffic tickets for 10 years and then be a judge for a criminal law? Is that the way it works?
It's up to the presiding judge. You become elected, like I'm running for a seat number 48, against the currently sitting judge in that seat. However, that individual seat can be moved around to any division based on the presiding judge's decision. Like he could move the current incumbent over to family law, civil law, traffic. He can move him, place a judge wherever he wants. But when you specifically elect a position, like I want to go after this particular judge, his seat number is 48. It's not that I want his assignment, because that's not going to be left up to me. It'll be left up to the presiding judge. It's just that I know his term is up. I know he has been censured. I know he is not qualified to be a judge. So I'm picking seat 48 because that's the seat that he's occupying.
Got it. Okay. So now when you talk about presiding judge, explain what that means to the simple guy here.
To the simple guy is the person who's in charge for a certain amount of years. It rotates.
But would that be in that particular courthouse, or is it in a county, or is it for the state?
It's countywide.
Countywide,
It's
okay.
countywide, yes.
So there's one judge for the whole county that basically doles out the assignments?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does he also hear cases?
No, it's more administrative.
Okay.
In that regard. So that's why they rotate them out. I don't know if the judges like being presiding judge or not, but usually the person that's presiding, there's people either that apply or get tapped and say, will you be the next presiding judge?
It's very, very fascinating because, I don't know about you, but I've never really paid much attention. I mean, I look at judges and more often than not, unless it's a judge that I just know that I didn't like something about them, what do you vote? Half the time I'll leave it blank because I don't study that enough, and I don't know enough people that will do that. I can honestly say that I don't think I've ever missed a primary or a major election to vote in. Some of these smaller ones I never heard about, I might have missed some of those. But I think one of the things that most of us really should be doing is getting ourselves educated. Why would you vote if you're not educated on a subject? And people died for you to have that right. So get yourself educated. That's what we're doing here. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Karen Schatzle about why she's running for this specific seat. Might find that fascinating. We're also going to talk about the sales contracts, highest level in months. What's causing that to happen? We might even talk about that adjustable rate mortgage. Should you do it or shouldn't you? When is it the right time? You can reach me anytime. Call the off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. If you want to ask a question, just go ahead and send it by Twitter, @Ron Siegel. We're monitoring that. We don't take calls on air, but we'll monitor the Twitter feed and see if there's something that we can use from you. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
In the middle of us.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Are you ready to overcome your biggest blocks with money and time? Your solution? Big Profits Now World Summit. The best skills and strategies to double and triple your business profits without doubling or tripling the work. This summit has gathered 24 experts specializing in business growth. It's a free online event that's happening now. Go immediately to claim your free ticket at BigProfitsNowLive.com. Enter your name and email and receive these free video interviews directly to your inbox. Again, that's BigProfitsNowLive.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 0186945.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today. being brought to you by the Household Board of Directors, your Household Board of Directors, and you need one. Every major corporation has a board of directors. Why don't you have one for your household? And it's simple and it's free. Text ATP to 79564, brief survey, and we'll introduce you to the real estate, mortgage, reverse mortgage. Probably need 4 or 5 attorneys that you need to know on a regular basis. Estate planning, maybe family law, maybe bankruptcy, elder law, all folks that are good for you to know about. Financial planner, tax planner, CPA, all part of your board of directors. Real estate today, though, the real estate sales contracts hit the highest level in months. How could that be when we just saw what's going on and there's not a lot of inventory? But the National Association of Realtors just announced that February pending home sales index reached its highest reading since July 2015. What is the pending home sales index? Forward-looking indicator based on contract signings, people that are agreeing to go into contract. The higher the pending home sales index number, the more contracts have been signed by buyers, and that's obviously going to lead to sales. February's index rose 3.5% month over month to 109. According to Lawrence Yoon, the National Association of Realtors chief economists, after some volatility this winter, the latest data is encouraging in that a decent number of buyers signed contracts. Now, I'm going to share with you. Right now, you have to make 5 offers on average in Orange County, LA County, San Diego County to get one offer accepted. 5 offers. There's multiple offers. So you really need a great real estate professional working with you. Get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with the great professionals in your neighborhood. The only reason I know them is I talk to them every day, and I can look up some of the back-end statistics that tell me a little bit more detail than might be on your average website that somebody's paying to get onto. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by your Household Board of Directors. Text ATP to 79564. So I'm going to continue our conversation, and I'm actually going to get Karen's name proper this time. Simple guy. I don't know how I came up with Carol, but I've only got it in big letters right in front of me. Even as blind as I am, I can see Karen Schatzle right in front of me.
Yes.
You and your name. It's all written. How do you miss it? So how did you pick seat 48? I mean, most of us don't even know that seats are what a seat is. How did you come up with 48?
Seat 48 is the seat that's currently occupied by my opponent, who was censured in 2014 for having...
Wait, we got to back up. Simple people.
Censured,
yes. What does censured mean?
He got a slap on the wrist from from the Committee on Judicial Performance, saying you shouldn't have done that. That's wrong. Don't do it again.
So got out of line.
Yes, he did. He actually was an adjunct professor at Chapman University while he was being a judge, and Chapman University fired him for this. He had invited his law students to the court to watch the process, and that ultimately admitted to having sex with at least 2 of his students on separate occasions.
Wow.
Multiple times.
And he admitted that. It's not like that's hearsay.
Oh, no, he admitted to that. Yeah, and he... between the hours of 8 and 5, when the court's open to the public, and even after hours, I guess because he was married, or is married, I should say, and was basically using our taxpayers' dollars as his hotel room and having the students come over and have sexual relations with him.
That's an interesting one for a judge.
Right?
I didn't know we were going that direction. Holy cow.
And not only that, it gets even more interesting. He was a DA prior to being a judge, and it happened just like I indicated to you. There was a judge who was really good friends with, longtime friend of his father's, who was retiring. She retired, endorsed Scott. He was supported by our elected official, Tony Rukakis, who's also very good friends with Scott's dad, Bill Steiner, who was on the Board of Supervisors. So Scott basically walked onto the bench. When there's no opponent, you don't pay any ballot fees. It doesn't cost you any money. You walk onto the bench. And immediately after he took the bench, he started abusing his position. Rumor in the courthouse was he had a horrible judicial temperament, was very egotistical, arrogant. and then started having sex in chambers with his interns. And to top it off, which is even more interesting, he'd write letters of recommendations for his sexual partners to get them employment with the DA's office, his former boss. He actually got one of them a job, but when the second intern, I believe, didn't make it through the second interview, he became extremely frustrated and wrote letters to the DA's office and called and was angry and adamant that his judge's recommendation should count for something, and how is it that this person could possibly, what could she do to get the job with the office?
It's pretty, it's almost sound, what was the Peyton Place types scenario, right? I mean, really sounds kind of fascinating. Why isn't that kind of information out being publicized? Why aren't the papers carrying that in the news stories?
You know, when it first broke, they did cover it, and now it just seems like to be almost swept underneath the carpet. We have major local officials endorsing my opponent. Tony Rakakis is still endorsing him. The board of supervisors, 3 of the 5 members are endorsing him. And what's most interesting is the Police Officers Sheriff's Association is endorsing him. Now, Sheriff's Association is a large association in our county, and they conducted the investigation. They went in, collected evidence, and so they are very familiar with what's happening, and they chose to endorse him. I believe Tom Dominguez was the one behind that. He's the president of their PAC, and he and I don't see eye to eye. So
if they're endorsing him, are they basically saying that what he did wasn't that bad, so to speak? I mean, again, I'm a simple guy. I don't
I guess it's speculation. They're basically standing by him, saying, "I guess it's okay to do that."
Yeah, I mean, again, as a simple person and not being an insider in this, I'm just listening from afar, so to speak. Right. And you have to wonder. I mean, I'm looking at your sheet here, and a ton of law enforcement endorsements.
Almost all of them, except for the Sheriff's Association and a couple that didn't return my calls. Orange, I believe it's because they're connected with my opponent as well, and Irvine.
Now, based on what you're saying, it sounds like there's a lot of backdoor, backroom
collusion.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Let me say it for you. Yes.
So, what kind of retribution you're a deputy district attorney in Orange County.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't know the proper terminology. Supervisor, superior, boss, whatever, is endorsing an opponent.
Right, it's uncomfortable to say the least.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you end up getting, is there retribution that you anticipate from
well, let's put it this way. They have, the district attorney's office has what they call a needs of the office type approach, to where they could transfer people around at their discretion based on a needs of the office. So I've been transferred since my decision to, one, consider running against Scott. The very day that my managers heard that I was going to run, or thinking about running, they called me to the 10th floor. I had recently been what they called promoted to as a team leader, and my main manager, Jamie Coulter, had called me up to the 10th floor and told me that he had heard a rumor that I was considering this opposition. That once I confirmed the rumor, I said, yes, it's true, I haven't made up my mind yet. He said, well, now we don't think it's a good fit, your team leader promotion, based on your decision to oppose Judge Steiner. So I said, really? Are you threatening to demote me? Because that's illegal. And he started to backpedal, and we had some words, and he said that wasn't his intent, and he wanted to put me into a filing unit, which is not where you want to be as a senior prosecutor. And then I was upset. I said, I'm astounded that this is happening. So based on our conversation, just assume that I am going to make a run for this and oppose my opponent, and you do what you have to do, knowing that what you've just said is unethical, illegal, and after 30 years of law enforcement, to be threatened in this manner, I was extremely upset. And
you can understand, most anybody would be.
Right, so I left. I said, I'm going to leave your office, and I'm going to leave this building, and I'm going to go have lunch, and then I'm going to come back. Well, then, after lunch, I get called back up to the 10th floor, speak with a different high-level manager, who tells me, yeah, we know Mr. Coulter messed up. You know, he shouldn't have said that. That's not what he was supposed to say. And I said, well, what was he supposed to say? And so they said, but, you know, between you and me, the manager said, you know, how can we make it up to you? And I said, you can't make it up to me. You know, you basically took 30 years of my dedication as a public servant and threw it out the window because I'm doing something that basically you don't want me to do because my elected official is friends with my opponent's dad. You know, they flat out told me that.
Wow. It's pretty interesting how all these things go around, and it, you know, we talk Tuesdays, it's politics and policy, so a little bit of fun here on Ron Siegel Radio. I wasn't expecting a lot of this, but we're going to keep on chatting with Karen Schatzle. Make sure I get the name proper.
Yes.
So you'll be able to check that out on the Orange County ballot. And we'll talk to Karen a little more when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Adjustable rate mortgages. Who are they good for? Are they good for anybody? Well, we'll talk about that as well when we come back. You can reach us anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care Team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Open a free checking with eStatements account at one of SDCCU's 38 branch locations today. For details, visit SDCCU.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by VIP Mortgage. When you need that mortgage, VIP has the products for you. And one of them, yes, it is the adjustable rate mortgage. I looked at statistics for last month. There were more adjustable rate mortgages originated last month than we've seen in a long time. Why? Well, here's the purpose of it. Let me explain what an adjustable rate mortgage is first, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. An adjustable rate mortgage is just what it says. The rate can adjust. There are different time periods when it can adjust. So it could be that it adjusts every 6 months. It could be that it's going to adjust after a 5-year fixed period, after a 3-year fixed period, after a 7-year fixed period, or maybe even a 10-year fixed period. Personally, I like the 7-year adjustable rate mortgage just because we keep our loans in this country for about 5.2 years. That's all we keep them. So why not get that lower rate? I also like, in some instances, now the federal government has set this up in a difficult way, but if you're looking at an FHA loan, I like the 5-year adjustable rate mortgage because I don't want you to keep your loan more than 5 years. I want you to refinance it and get rid of the mortgage insurance. So why not take that lower rate? The reason that the government has made it difficult is to qualify for that loan. You have to qualify using income or assuming that it's going to be 2% higher. So if you've got a 3.5% or a 3% adjustable rate, you have to qualify based on a 5% rate. Not quite what's a good idea for you, especially because your intent is not to keep it beyond that 5-year period. Just think about that. So a couple of the basic features: initial interest rate. Sometimes people will call that the teaser rate. That's where the rate starts for that initial period. You've got an adjustment period. Talked about that a little bit yesterday. It could be 6 months or 12 months after that first time period where that fixed period is. You've got an index rate. That could be the 1, 3, or 5-year treasuries as the index. Then you've got a margin on top of that. So you've got it, the index plus margin gives you the interest rate. Generally, there's a rate cap. So you could see a 5-point cap above your start rate, a 7, or it could be an indefinite number. Initial discounts. These are interest rate concessions, often used as a promotional aid. Negative amortization. We don't see too much of that right now. Conversion. You could possibly have a provision in there that'll allow you to convert that mortgage from adjustable rate to a fixed rate. And again, we don't see too much in prepayment penalties right now. Those are the basic guidelines or the basic structure of an adjustable rate mortgage. Again, that is the Mortgage Minute brought to you by VIP Mortgage. So we've been talking this morning to Karen Schatzle. She is a senior Orange County Deputy District Attorney running for the Orange County Superior Court Judge number 48. I guess it's not judge number 48, it's seat number 48. It's not like you got that thing that comes in your clothes that says Inspector 5 or something like that. It's a little different than that. So before the break, we were talking about, it sounds kind of interesting to me as a lay person, a simple person. Sounds almost like a Peyton Place threatening issue. You will do this or else. And Karen, you were sharing about the ultimatum, so to speak. I guess as a simple person, that's the term that I would use. I don't know if that's exactly what was intended or the way it went. What ended up happening when you came back from lunch?
Well, when I came back from lunch, they had initially assigned me to the North Court in Fullerton, and they felt that they couldn't put me there because my opponent was sitting up there. And so they asked me, what court would you prefer to go to as a team leader? And I asked Central. And so that's where the felonies, that's where the hub of what's going on is. And they had originally asked me what would be my least favorite to go to. And I said, well, based on where I live, I wouldn't want to go to West Court because of the traffic. It would take me the longest. And so they moved me to Central. I was in Central for 3 weeks, and then I went on vacation for my birthday. And when I come back from vacation, the day I got back from vacation, I was told I was being moved to West Court.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, with no explanation, just the needs of the office. I spoke to my supervisor, and he gave me several reasons, and when I kept pinning him down as to exactly to explain those reasons, he wasn't able to come back with information. At the end of the dialogue, he basically said, quite frankly, I don't know why they're moving you. Mr. Coulter made the decision, and you're going to West. So then I went to West, and my primary functions are filing, lo and behold. And now, yesterday, I just learned that I'm going to be in the court rotation, basically what we call pushing a bucket. And it's just interesting because I have this team leader status, yet my job duties continually, not only am I just filing, I'm filing misdemeanor cases that are Prop 47 cases.
What does that mean?
That they're cases like they're low relevant cases.
Okay.
Yeah. But, it's a job and they pay me the same. So I filed a complaint with Human Resources, and they basically are what I've learned as a length and arm of my elected officials, so it doesn't really help me in any regard. But I did put this on record because the position that I was seeking to be promoted to went to somebody that had not gone through the normal course of having to be a team leader, working a branch court, and then getting the position of assistant head of court in a vertical unit. And I had asked for that prior to any of this happening, and they said that you have to go through that process. Well, apparently that process doesn't apply to everybody.
Sounds pretty. The whole thing to me sounds very interesting. Again, I don't know anything about. I just learned some of my elected stuff from the people that come in and share with us in the studios. But after 30 years of doing this, why put yourself through all this?
I'm doing it in principle. I feel very strongly that the community needs to know what's going on. This judge that remains on the bench, he has the potential in sitting on a case where somebody uses their position to make somebody have sex with them. If you were a victim or if you were a defendant and you had to appear before them, I think they have a right to know that these are the kind of people that our elected officials, our community is electing to remain on the bench and pass judgment. He has people in his courtroom now that are fundraising for him. North Orange County Bar Association is very active in fundraising for him, and those lawyers are still in there dealing cases with him. To me, it just seems like he should recuse himself from those cases because there's an appearance of impropriety. You have somebody raising money to keep you on the bench, and now you're asking that judge to deal your case.
But isn't that either one of the counsel's job to make that request? Or is it the judge's job to initiate that?
Well, I think the judge should feel he has a conflict. If somebody is out there raising money for my campaign, I wouldn't feel comfortable presiding over one of their matters because there's an appearance that I would give them favoritism. They're raising money to keep me my job.
But doesn't that mean that every lawyer should be excluded from, because you never know, like as has happened with you, what you're sharing, every lawyer in that instance then should be excluded from any fundraising for anybody that's a judge, shouldn't they?
Well, typically what happens is you have to recuse yourself from, if I were to be elected judge, anybody that donated more than $1,500 to my campaign, I would not be able to, for 2 years, have them in my courtroom because there's an appearance of impropriety.
Sure, and rightly so, I would think.
Correct. Smaller amounts or support, I don't know how anybody's going to vote when they go to the voting booth, so in that regard, you don't know. But in this specific instance, they have been very active. They invited me to a forum to meet the candidate's elected official, and it was extremely transparent that it was set up to permit Mr. Steiner to apologize to his colleagues and to come after me and attack me in certain regards. I anticipated it because I know the people in the industry. And I was called classless, and one of the members said I shoot from the hip, that I'd make a horrible judge, and he doesn't know anything about me. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I went to school at night, worked full time during the day, went to school at night, was pregnant and had 2 kids in law school, and sat and took the bar exam while working, and I was pregnant with my 3rd child.
Wow.
And I worked. I worked as a probation officer. I worked the gang suppression unit. I was out in the field. I carried a gun. I helped reintegrate our youthful offenders back into the community. I helped incarcerate people who were the worst of the worst. And then I dedicated my life, pretty much 17 years, in prosecuting child molesters, sex offenders, and career criminals. And I felt like if I didn't step into, I truly felt like somebody else who wanted to be a judge was going to oppose this man, or that he would just step down and make amends to the community. But he came out very strongly fundraising, so I thought if nobody else was going to do it, I had to do it. Otherwise, I'd become part of the problem.
Very fascinating. It's an interesting story. I don't know that I would have done what you're doing, but it's
not
just
fun.
From a career standpoint, unbelievable. Be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today, and of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
XAPA News 700 AM Negatif Balikan.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.